Hey everyone, and welcome to another Vizcom tutorial. My name is Mason, and in this video we are going to cover the new 3D panel updates that we have in Vizcom and just kind of walk through a general overview of how best practices and how to make 3D models within Vizcom. So let's go ahead and dive right into our 2D studio. So same as before, all 3D generations within the context of Vizcom will be performed within the 2D studio. So you can see on the very right hand side on this vertical tab, right under the variation icon is our make 3D icon. And you'll always be able to find this as the square icon with the star on the top right. So once you have that clicked, this will go ahead and pull up the make 3D panel. So in the make 3D panel, the first thing that you're going to want to understand or know what you want to decide on first is what detailed 3D generation model you want to use. So we have these modes set up with these unique generation modes such as detailed sharp v2, which is the default. We also have detailed smooth, max, and standard. So all of the detailed model generations are really good for capturing different levels of fidelity, and they all create topology in their own sort of way. And more importantly, whatever feature flags that we're going to touch upon in a bit, they're all going to sort of cascade from whatever mode that you select. So detailed sharp's going to have different generation feature flags as opposed to detailed max, and we're going to soon see that play in action. But let's first go ahead and just kind of like walk through the rest of the options that we have. So the first thing that I want to call attention to is the make 3D from multiple layers. And this is in regards to if you want to make a 3D model that sort of understands and you want to feed it different image angles or create different image angles to understand how to create that subject from a different side or profile view. So if I were to click on this checkbox, you'll see that I have these 4 thumbnails loaded up, and right now they are empty. What you can do is if you have additional view angles in separate layers or orthographic views, you can upload them to your layer stack on the left. However, if you only have one image angle at the moment, what you can now do natively within this multiple layers panel is, for example, if I click on this 3-dot icon for the left view, this will ask me to either upload an image, paste it from a clipboard, as well as generate that view. So let's go ahead and generate that view, and this will run the new view workflow that you might have used in some previous workflow within Vizcom, and that leverages that sort of workflow to pull upon the alternative views that we can then use for our multi-angle 3D generation. So I'm going to do the same for the back view as well as the right view. Awesome. So as you can see, we have all of our views, and it went ahead and generated those layers on the left-hand side to make reference. If I wanted to, let's say for this right view, if I didn't like how this looked, I can always go ahead and deselect that or reselect the image layers by orders. So we have front, left, and back. And the way that I'm doing that is by holding Command on Mac or Control on Windows PC. So by doing so, you can add or subtract the thumbnail views from this left-hand side once you do have layers. So again, these can be your own layers, or they can be the generated layers from Vizcom. I'm going to also go ahead and just regenerate this right view. Awesome. So now I have all my views set up and I have my layer stack set up. The next thing I want to understand, or choose rather, is the mesh detail. So Vizcom gives us a couple of different presets based on how many polygons or faces we are wanting to generate. So for low poly, if you're thinking about something like a game asset for optimization, you can select a low poly version. Or if you wanted to do something more on the higher end for maybe some digital sculpting, cleanup work afterwards, you can always select the highest view. You can then, after you choose which mesh detail version you have, you can then choose between what types of textures you want. So you either can generate without any textures, you can generate with standard definition textures or high definition textures. When you generate with no textures, it actually will generate at a faster rate. So it is nice to have as an option in case you wanted to focus more so on the mesh itself and the topology and kind of worry about the texturing later down in the process. So just for that, we're just gonna keep it at none. And then now we're getting into the advanced options, and this is the important call out. that I want to make for how these advanced options sort of operate with these different modes. So right now I'm in the Detailed Sharp V2 mode. If I were to switch it to, let's say, Detailed Max, you can see that my advanced option settings are blank, or they're just pretty much different. That's going to be the one thing that I mentioned earlier. So all your decisions that you make in terms of what options you have will be accessed through the different modes that you select at the beginning. So for example, if I were to switch to the Detailed Smooth, you can see that now I have advanced options such as quad topology or bounding box. And not only that, another thing you're gonna have to want to play around with a little bit is to understand if I choose the highest, preset quality for a specific mode, that's also going to give me different options. So for example, the exact poly count option. So this flag, when checked, you'll have a slider access of a integer amount that you can put in to calculate how many faces you want to generate on that 3D poly mesh. So going over to Detailed Max, we can just go ahead, select the highest, and I'm going to say I want the 1.5 million faces to get the highest amount of detail. And now I'm going to click on Generate. All right, so I went ahead and generated a couple of different 3D meshes based on the three main detailed model versions. So we have Detailed Max, we have Detailed Sharp, and Detailed Smooth. And we'll kind of go over just quickly on what the main differences are. So for Detailed Sharp right here, whenever a 3D model also is generating on the canvas, this will populate on the canvas directly, and then you have options to either rotate that around to inspect it within the viewer. You can also toggle on material or just mesh view, as well as choose the focal length. So we'll just keep this here for now, but these are some of the options you have once it loads onto the viewport. The Detailed Sharp, if we take a look, kind of captures mostly a lot of the scratches and the surfacing on our robot companion right here. Whereas something like the Detailed Smooth also is a nice quality version of what we have of our robot companion, but sort of smooths out some of those inconsistencies. So it really just depends again on the context of, whatever you're trying to work on. If you want something really precise and smooth and hard surface versus organic, whether or not you want to include some of those scratches or details depending on the type of asset. Also Detailed Max, we can take a look, also kind of adopts that same ability to sort of smooth out the topology or without, but also including some of the finer details and construction of our robot companion. So, and they also have a little bit of different ways they treat the proportions and the sizing of the mesh itself, but they all come out as the same type of poly mesh in a triangle face format. So when you do select and decide and choose what version of 3D model you like to use, you can then export out the 3D mesh itself by clicking on More Actions and then going down to Export, where you can then export as GLB, STL, USDZ, OBJ, and our newly added FBX natively. So great for game development pipeline workflows in that native FBX output. STL is really great if you want to do some 3D printing. So all these meshes do come in watertight with the ability to kind of export that out and make some adjustments. And so, yeah, matter of fact, in terms of those export options, you also have the option for STL export. So this is actually one of the legs of our robot. Not quite the same color pattern design, as this was taken from a different sort of base design image, but same idea applies. Watertight meshes that you can then quickly edit and post-process to create and just physically hold in your hand. Like, this is so cool that you can just print out or visualize your sketch and an idea and actually physically hold it. So this is going to be one part of the leg, and we're going to be building up the rest of it soon, and excited to see what you guys can come up with your own 3D prints.